Welcome to Second Hour Connections. In this video, we're going to cover how to set up a new session, create groups, add discussion prompts, and share prompts with your class or group. So this video covers leader setup, the kind of setup that a leader would do in advance of, in preparation for their meeting. Okay, to start, just open your browser and navigate to 2ndhour.app, and you're there. And you're going to click on create a new session. We're going to start a new session, so I'm just going to click on this start new session. And now I have all of my session controls. This is actually a new unique session. And every session has a unique QR code, so that when people scan the QR code, they're joining this session. The options that I have as a leader include specifying whether I want people to enter their name when they join the session. That can be optional, it can be required, or it's not even an option. I just turn it off. Default is optional. And then I have different ways that I can break the attendees into groups. I can set a target group size, I can specify a number of groups, or I can allow attendees to choose their own group. Depending on the size of the group and what the experience, the desired experience is for the class, you may not want to disrupt. Say it's a gospel doctrine class and there's a lot of people, including older people, where it may be difficult for them to get up and move around once they get settled. That's the kind of group where you might want to choose this. Attendees choose their group. My recommendation is to use target group size or number of groups, because that randomly assigns people to groups so that you don't get the same group of people always grouping together, but you get some mixture within the group so that you can have the opportunity to create new connections, for example, with different people. So that's just the group settings. And to add content, you simply click on this Add Content button. On the Add Content page, this is where you add your discussion prompts. And there's 4 different categories of that you can use to create your prompts. There's some pre-curated prompts that are categorized in some broad categories, some of which come directly from church content. I can just open one of these and I can just add that. And whenever I add a prompt, then it adds to this, it adds a row here below the add prompts controls. And so let me just let me pick another one. I'll do a warm up one. I'm just randomly selecting. So you can see it's building a row of prompts. Okay. And we'll come back and cover these more later, but I want to cover the different categories first. So there's these pre-curated prompt decks that you can select from. I'm going to skip generate for now. We'll come back to that. I can just create my own custom prompt, make it whatever I want, including an image, for example. I'll show an example of that later. This option is probably my favorite. This one uses AI. It uses, I connected to the OpenAI API to take whatever content I dump in here and generate prompts from that. Let me show you an example. Okay, I'm going to go to the church's website, into libraries, general conference, and this latest general conference. And I am going to pick, I'm just going to randomly select a talk here, and I'm going to copy that and go back here and paste that in here. So now I've pasted that talk in here. I can set the language. I can set the source type. There isn't necessarily a right or a wrong, but it can improve the quality of the prompts if you match this source type to what the actual source type is. So I'm going to change that to talk lesson. And then the prompt style, deeper discussion, lighter conversation, testimony focused, application action oriented, or icebreaker style. And your audience you can select mixed adults or youth or families or new members, and how many prompts you want. I'll say 12. And I'm going to generate prompts from this content. So this is a general conference talk by Elder Patrick Kieran. And 2ndHour is generating prompts from this content. So here they are. So you see, Elder Kieran describes feeling cheered on by a word he barely knew. What helps a church community feel genuinely welcoming rather than merely friendly? Okay, so I've got 12 different prompts here. I can selectively pick and add, or I can add all. I'm just going to add a couple here and close that. So you can see I'm building my list of prompts that I want to use in the talk. Now, I could paste scripture in here. I can do images. I can do a lot of different things to make my content, my prompt content, rich and meaningful. But I'm not trying to illustrate all of that right now. I'm just showing you how to create your prompts. Okay, so we've got some prompts here. I just want to go through. So there's this little icon up here next to the description or title, indicates the prompt type, where it came from, right? So these two came from this browse prompt decks. This came from this add custom, and these three came from this generate. Okay. The last thing I want to show is how to preserve this. Now, I'm going to change this title here. I'm going to say this is Elder Patrick Kieran about his business from April 2026 General Conference. Okay. You haven't had to create an account. You haven't had to register your email. You haven't had to log in. The trade-off for that is this is temporary. I'm using temporary storage online that persists for 7 days. It'll be of inactivity. Every time you're active, it'll extend that another 7 days. But basically, you have 7 days of temporary storage. The way you can make it permanent is you export your setup. So you can see it defaults to that name, and I'm just going to say OK, and then designate where I want this to be saved. I've actually got this folder here where I save it. I'm saving it to a Google Drive location so that I have access to this from my phone, for example. Now so now I've saved it and it's permanent. I've got my own file. At any point in time, a year later, I could go in and load that setup and restore it. I'm going to do that for one of these. I am going to load this right here. Open that. And okay. So you can see this is something that I prepared previously. And you can see some of these prompts, you can have timed discussion prompts. So if I look at this and go down and look at this setting here, right? This is a 10-minute timed discussion. Okay. And if I check this, that's the same as checking this button right here. Okay, that just is the same as checking that checkbox. Okay, but my intent here is just to demonstrate the export and import. That's how you preserve your setup permanently if you want. Okay, in the next video, I'm going to show the leader session and the attendee session. Because at this point, all we've looked at is leader setup. And I do recommend you can do leader setup on a small screen like your phone, but it is, that's just like this. Grabbing this and copying it and pasting it is a little bit more challenging to do that on your phone than it is on a desktop. Okay, just as a little bit of advice there. Okay, and I'll do the next video on that shows both the leader and the attendee.